Hey everybody, my name is Erin and I'm about to draw a crazy number of books for my March TBR. It's time for the Trope-ical Readathon. I did this readathon back in August, I think, and I'll link information down below, but basically it's a giant, beautiful bingo board full of common tropes. I joined the fantasy sci-fi team, which I'm super excited about, and you basically get points for each trope challenge that you complete. There's also a group book and 2 group prompts. So we're gonna look at them all. Now, I'm gonna be realistic. There's no way I'm gonna read all of the books that I'm about to show you. I'm gonna focus on the 10 that I roll for, because I'm still gonna roll for my TBR. And then the rest of them will just kind of be free choice. We'll see what I get to, and we'll see what I don't. You'll see that I am going to be using minis this round. The minis that I ordered never came in. So, but I was tired of waiting around and just using sticky notes. So I'm actually using minis from one of my board games called Zombicide. If you haven't ever played Zombicide, it's a very fun board game. I would definitely recommend getting the Black Plague version instead of the first version. Anyway, none of the characters match up with the ones I've drawn, and some of these are zombies. So we're just going with it. It is what it is at this point. I want to use minis, so we're using minis. Let's go ahead and look at that first roll. Roll number 1 came up with fiction, and I'm not going to draw prompts because there's no way I'm going to be able to combine the prompts I draw with TBR prompts from the Trope-ical Readathon, so we're just going with Trope-ical Readathon prompts. The only time you'll see me using the board is if they land on the animal space or the first draw space, but mostly Trope-ical Readathon prompts. And so I am actually going to choose one of my NetGalley books, and that is Witches Steeped in Gold by CNN Smart. This has a truly beautiful cover. So I'm going to use this for the ebook prompt. And in this book we have 2 witches who are enemies for sure, and they have to form an alliance to take down a common enemy. In one of the summaries that I saw, they compared this to the TV show Killing Eve, which I love, and yeah, so between that and this cover, I'm so excited. So let's take a look at the Trope-ical Readathon board, and you'll see that this is going to go in that ebook spot. Each prompt has an alternate prompt that you can fulfill, and I'll put the board up every once in a while, probably not after every book because that's gonna be a lot, but I'll put this every few books just kind of to show you what prompts I have filled so far. Roll number 2 gave us an alternate series, so I'm choosing one of my kids' series, and partially because it's a really short one and I've got so many books to read, and partially because there are a lot of books in the series and I need to start burning my way through. So I'm choosing book number 4 in the series of Unfortunate Events. This is The Miserable Mill, and for the Trope-ical Readathon, it's going to cover the absent parent trope. So I don't know the specifics for book number 4. In case you have somehow missed this series, it follows 3 kids who just really struggle in life. Their parents are killed in an accident. They're just very surprisingly dark books for being kids' books. But book number 4, a nice short one for that first draw. The next roll gave us a fantasy series draw, and I am going to be reading The Heart of Betrayal by Mary Pearson. If you watched my last book haul, this was in there. This is book 2 in the Remnant Chronicles. yeah, Remnant Chronicles. So it is a follow-up, and for the Trope-ical Readathon, it's going to be an enemies to lovers book. I don't know how much enemies to lovers is in book 2, but book 1 is full of it, so I'm going to assume some of that carries over. In book 1, you have a princess who's betrothed to a prince she's never met, and so she runs away and hides herself as a peasant, and the prince and an assassin both disguise themselves as well and try to hunt her down. And they meet someone who they think might be the princess, so you're getting to know both boys through the princess's eyes. The thing is, you don't know which one is the assassin and which one is the prince. So, alright, my next role landed me on the short story Animal prompt. Each one of my minis has an animal companion that correlates to a bunch of different kids' books. I was hoping not to draw these because they don't really fit. So I need to finish coloring these in, but my short story character has a little squirrel for his companion. I've already read the first book for the squirrel category, and so book 2 is Julie and the Wolves. This is by Jean Craighead George. She also wrote My Side of the Mountain, which I loved as a kid, and I have a lot of those in my series collection and my kids' books that I need to finish reading. It's about a girl who runs away into the Alaskan wilderness and gets lost, but accepted by a pack of wolves. So that seems crazy. Maybe a little Hatchet-esque. Alright, and our next role gets us another animal prompt, and this one is for the fantasy series character. And she has a nice poofy little rabbit. And that is rabbit book number 1, The Prince and the Pond. So here we go, Prince and the Pond. So this is a book that I found at one of my summer camps. My friend Katie and I used to love looking at the pictures in this book. Again, not the shortest kids book that I have. Another chapter book instead of like a little picture book, but it is what it is. Roll number 6 gave me a classic. I'm going to read Lord of the Flies by William Golding. I think Lord of the Flies is going to be a good one. I never actually read it. Somehow I missed reading this in like high school and college. It's about a group of kids whose plane crashes, and so they end up kind of on an island without adult supervision. I'm going to guess things devolve pretty quickly. So I do really like the cover on this one, and I'm interested to see where this goes. Of course, the one time I don't want to land on the animal prompts, I end up with a third one, and that is for my general fiction books. So here's this character. He has a nice little owl on his shoulder there. When I looked for the next owl prompt, it came up with absolutely normal chaos. So in this book, we have a girl who has been given an assignment to keep a journal, and it's not something she's excited about, but she ends up having an incredible summer and is glad that she's written it all down. I don't know a whole lot about this. Again, I just not having luck with these kids' books. I was hoping to get some picture books if I had to draw them at all, but we've got 3 chapter books on our hand. So here we go. Our next draw got me friend recommendation, and this lines up really good with the Trope-ical Readathon prompt to read a book that someone else has chosen. So I'm going to be reading Chronicles of the Black Company by Glenn Cook. This was given to me by my boyfriend to read a long time ago, and I haven't ever gotten to it. I think it's the first 3 books, so I may... No, I'm going to just read them all. I was going to just read the first one, but I feel like that kind of defeats the purpose of reading a book a friend gave you. So I know this is dark and gritty. It's about the Black Company who's off at war, and there's been a prophecy that someone called the White Rose has been reborn. So I'm guessing they're gonna go try and find her. I don't really know much other than that. The back blurb is pretty short, but I do know that he really enjoys this series, so it's time to pick it up. Alright, 2 more books in my regular drawing. Let's take a look real quick at my Trope-ical Readathon board. Next up, I got Other Series again, or Alternate Series again, and this is going to end up being a mixed media book, and that is Illuminae by J. Kristoff and Amy Kaufman. So I, again, just hauled this in my last haul. It is a sci-fi romance, and it's got a ton of different ways to read, not ways to read, but different styles of writing. Hopefully it'll go pretty quick despite the fact that it is a little bit thicker. Alright, my last drawing was historical fiction, and this is actually somehow the first time that that's been drawn, so I've got to draw just the first card and hope that it fits, which I'm hesitant. This first one is Beloved by Toni Morrison. I don't know much about this book, but I know Toni Morrison is just an amazing author who has a pretty wide collection. This one specifically is about an escaped slave who loses her baby girl and eventually meets someone with the same name, and it goes from there. I am fortunate enough that this actually, and I checked, is a multiple point of view book, so I'm going to slide it right in that spot for that Trope-ical Readathon. I'm so glad it fit because I was worried it wasn't going to. Alright, so the rest of these are just kind of, if I get to them, choice books. We'll see how they go. For whatever reason, I chose a bunch of big ones. I don't really know why. One of the fantasy specific prompts is A Secret World. So I am going to put The Lord of Chaos by Robert Jordan in there. This is book 6. Just massive. I'm going to be reading this one all month, regardless of how many of the others I get done, because I'm trying to read one a month, and this is the next one on the list. It's big, it's chunky, it's intimidating. I also really want to get to book number 2 in the first Mistborn era, and this is The Well of Ascension by Brandon Sanderson. This is going to go in the war setting trope. I don't know specifically if there's war in this one, but it hints at it in the back of the book. The first one you kind of see a revolution, and I think this is post-revolution, and there's still maybe a few scuffles happening. Next up, I have Binti. This one is about Binti, and she gets accepted into a school on the other side of the galaxy. People don't really leave very often where she's from, and so she's going to be the first of her people to venture off into space potentially. And this is a one-word title, so there we go. I also have a coming of age prompt, and I'm going to use a graphic novel called Anya's Ghost by Vera Brogel. This one is about Anya, and she doesn't really fit in anywhere. She doesn't really like herself. She's self-conscious about her body. And then she falls down a well and meets a ghost who becomes her best friend. So a graphic novel to keep it short, and I'm excited to count this one on the list. Okay, 4 more. So then I had a prompt for boarding school, which I actually had a hard time finding. I don't really have a lot of school books still on my shelf because I usually read them pretty quickly after I get them. But I did find Nevernight. This is another J. Kristoff book on this list. It's about a girl whose father started a rebellion that didn't go well. So she's kind of on the run, doesn't have anybody to support her, but she gets accepted into an assassin school. So I've heard really mixed reviews. I've heard some of the writing is a little iffy, but the story is good. So hopefully I like this one. The cover I think is really gorgeous. So yeah, another prompt was TV or movie adaptation, and so I chose Good Omens by Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett. This has a TV adaptation that I haven't seen yet because I want to read the book first. The end of the world is coming, and everybody's kind of working their way through those plans, but there is an angel and a demon that have lived on Earth for a long time, and they kind of like mortals. So they decide to work together to save Earth. We also have the team book, which is Rosewater, and I don't know anything about it. I haven't looked it up. I'll just look it up now because this book is set in Nigeria in the future. There is an alien biodome there, and it opens up every once in a while to heal people, and some people end up getting powers. That's all I really know. I like the cover of this, and I've heard mixed reviews, so I'm interested to see how it is as an audiobook. And finally, I can almost guarantee I don't get to this. It's another big book. But if it's a prompt, and who knows, maybe I'll be in the mood for it above some of these others. This goes with the other fantasy specific prompt for First Contacts, and we have Children of Time by Adrian Tchaikovsky. So in this, humans have got to leave Earth and find another planet to inhabit. They find one that may work, but there's already a species of alien spiders that are gigantic living there. So battle ensues. So here is that beautiful board one last time. We'll see how many of these I get to. My goal is at least those 10. Anything above that will just be like an amazing miracle, okay? So I'm going to hold up my original 10 because those are going to be the ones that I'm focusing on for my stack. Now that I'm holding this up next to my face, it doesn't look horrible. Okay guys, just a reminder, I'm leaving the information for the Trope-ical Readathon down below. You should join in for sure. It was really fun last year and I'm excited to do it again. Alright, I will see you later. I hope you have a great day. Bye guys.